Hello. I'm recording this video because I was just watching a video by Michael Knowles.
Where the morals come into play, there's no, I don't personally believe that there is any set of facts that tells you what gives human value. I think that's what the argument is about.
That's what morality would
what gives a human value. And I don't think that that is something that can be
objectively known.
In this video, Michael Knowles talks to a protester who basically is on the other side of the argument for pro-life or pro-choice. And I noticed that the protester was having a hard time holding his argument regarding morality. I want to discuss what I believe morality comes from an atheistic perspective, as this topic comes up pretty often, but the way that I like to paint it is from a slightly different angle. So the question is pretty straightforward. Where does morality come from, right? If you're atheist and you do not believe in God, it's pretty hard to argue for morality because quite quickly its source becomes a question. Does it come from inside? Does it come from empathy, caring for others? It's just, unlike in religion where you have a foundation of what you believe in. These are the 10 Commandments, whatever it might be, the Holy Spirit, good and evil. In atheism, you don't have it. But the one thing that is true and that cannot be denied is that it feels wrong to kill somebody. Like, even for me as a person, like if I were to come up to somebody and I were to go and try to stab them, I can feel some sort of resistance and pull that comes from possibly or even thinking about stabbing somebody or stealing from somebody else. You don't want it to be done to you. And I think this is the root of not objective truth, not objective morality, but morality just in general. I believe morality comes from empathy. Now, let's go through this rabbit hole of empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is our ability to feel other people's emotions and communicate with them without having to necessarily use words, right? So if I look at a baby and it starts crying, I know it needs help because I know what it is like to cry for myself. If, I see somebody struggling, I go ahead and help them. This is where I think our ability to feel other people's pain comes from as a result of evolution. Because through evolution, we have eventually gone to the point where we can feel other people's pain because we can collaborate more effectively. It's better and easier for us to collaborate if we're able to feel other people's pain. And so I think this is kind of like the foundation of that. By having this ability to feel other people's pain, which is fundamental not only for raising children and collaborating, and obviously evolution kind of selected for these traits as a result of us being able to collaborate more effectively, we now have this intuitive built-in ability to feel other people's pain. So given that we have empathy, given that this is something that's built within us, I believe that this is then the source of what feels like morality, what feels like right and wrong. And I think from this, we can then stem and kind of discuss further as to what this means for society. Because another question that kind of comes up when this topic comes up is, all right, well, because there's no objective morality, you can then choose to steal, you can then choose to do this, you can just do why? And kind of, that is somewhat of a conclusion that you reach from this, is that if you are in a situation where you know that there is no objective truth and you can take advantage of the situation, then you take. But if you are only focused on empathy and morality as the source of how you behave, then you will falter into this belief that you can take from others when the right time comes. It is only until you realize also where your beliefs and values come from, and you combine that with this morality that I discussed, that you can then start whittling out this bad behavior per se. Because if you believe, for example, that truth is a good value to have, regardless of whether it is objective, I do believe that is somewhat objective, then that would mean that you might not steal even if there is no objective morality. So it's more nuanced than that, but I wanted to initiate that conversation because I see these videos all the time, and it seems that religion is really good in general. I have no opposition towards it, but people that don't believe in God have a struggle kind of explaining where morality comes from. So let's begin that discussion and see kind of where it goes.